This session is designed to provide a quick online course delivery plan for faculty. The goals of today's session are to provide steps for a quick transition to online course delivery. It's not meant to develop a fully online course, but to link you with resources that are available to faculty, staff, and students. Some considerations: how do you get started? First, you want to think about what is realistic for you, your course content, and your students. You want to begin to brainstorm the who, the what, the when, where, and how. Remember the basics. Students really just want a clear communication on what to do, how to do it, where to submit their work, and when they can receive feedback from you as the instructor. If your primary teaching style is already lecture-based, then you might want to utilize the tool, such as Collaborate Ultra, to continue to have live lectures with your students. Let the technology help you. If you have largely discussion-based activities in your class, then you may want to consider using just the discussion board. The goal here is just to make sure that you don't have a dramatic shift in your learning objectives for your students or your learning strategies for your students. Remembering that you can use pre-recorded lectures, you don't have to have live lectures, but asynchronous strategies typically provide students with the option of viewing course content at their own pace. So there is a benefit to using pre-recorded lectures or asynchronous strategies such as the discussion board or VoiceThread to help students to reduce some of their anxiety during these difficult times. The first step is to plan. Determine what necessary resources are at your disposal to help facilitate your learning. You'll want to identify any activities and your learning objectives for each unit of instruction. Many of you are already doing these things in your face-to-face classes, but you do have to outline them and communicate them clearly in the online course environment. What do those look like? What do your instructional activities look like from week to week? You may have your readings, your lectures, videos. As we mentioned, Collaborate Ultra can be used to facilitate live lectures or pre-recorded lectures. And of course, you want to have a way for students to submit their work, their assignments and quizzes. There are quite a few tools. We'll touch on them now. We do have future workshops to go into each one in more detail. But the key for the planning step is to make sure you have electronic or digital copies of any of your course materials in order to upload them to Blackboard. If you have existing PowerPoints or articles, or exams that are paper exams, you'll want to convert them to a digital format. If you're currently using PowerPoint and they have a lot of transitions or animations, those are not necessarily compatible with Collaborate, so you'll want to convert them to a PDF. Again, we do have a full workshop on Collaborate, but I do want to mention those as you begin to think about your materials. If you do not already have PowerPoints developed and choose to create them, keep them very simple. Step 2 is your development phase. In cases like this, when we're trying to continue instruction during times of uncertainty, you may build as you go. Okay, this is a temporary situation or an extenuating circumstance. You may benefit from building 1 to 2 units at a time. Our students will come back and expect to see continuing instruction even if the campus may close. You'll want to create appropriate links to any resources, any activities that you have within your weekly content folder. And lastly, reconcile any changes or adjustments that you may make to your class schedule or your syllabus. Make sure you reconcile those and post a clear announcement or instruction, or overly communicate, if you will, with your students. To facilitate for the first time, or if you have minimal experience with facilitating in the online environment, be patient with yourself, be patient with the technology, and definitely be patient with your students. Many students are new to online learning, especially our first year students. So let's be mindful of communicating. Even if you experience technical difficulties with your PC or with software, it's okay. It will happen. It might happen. I hope it doesn't, but it might. just communicate with your students and keep them in the loop. They typically only want to know what's coming next. And remember that the CAES staff is always here to support. We always have tutorials for just about anything that you're trying to accomplish in Blackboard. Some of the tools that are available for use, and again, this is just a brief overview just to identify those tools and give a brief description of how they may be useful to you. Again, Collaborate Ultra is going to be the #1 software that will support or replace your face-to-face instruction. You can do so via synchronous sessions if you want to have your students meet at the same class time, or if you choose to pre-record your lectures, post them for your students and have them review them on their own time. The benefit of pre-recorded lectures is students can play them back, they can pause them, they can rewind them as well. If you are staff and choose to have virtual meetings, Collaborate Ultra can support that as well, and additionally, virtual office hours. Your assignments, the assignments tool is where your students will submit any papers, any assignments, and seamlessly create an option in the Grade Center where you can grade your student, collect your students' assignments in Blackboard, grade them, and provide feedback all within the Blackboard Learning Management System. The discussion board is an alternative to your face-to-face discussions. You can post weekly questions and allow students to engage with one another and with you. Your course announcements are going to be your quick and easy and tried and true way of communicating with your students. Not only can you post the announcement so that it's visible in Blackboard by the click of a button, you can also send that directly to your students' GSU email account. If your course is largely based on discussions where you just have a lot of interaction and collaborate during your face-to-face class periods, VoiceThread might be another option. There is a slight learning curve with VoiceThread, but it is a software that GSU subscribes to and is available for all faculty. That is also an upcoming workshop for you. If you have exams that are paper-based and you need to convert them to upload them into Blackboard, Blackboard will typically will grade all multiple choice exams automatically, but Blackboard also hosts essay, short answer, true and false questions as well. Another thing to consider as you plan and develop your mini online courses or plan to place more content online, YouTube videos are often a go-to to support your instruction. I'm sure many of you already play those videos in your class. You can link directly to YouTube seamlessly in Blackboard. And you can also link those not only in your content areas, but you can link them within the discussion board as well. So what does it look like exactly? You want to organize your content in some organized manner, creating a content folder or weekly learning module that you'll place any articles, any readings, any assignments for the week. Keeping it organized will prevent a lot of frustration for your students and possibly reduce the amount of emails you may receive with students uncertain about what to complete. Just a brief screenshot of what that looks like. This is an image of 2 content folders, and consider it as if you had a folder right on your desk. You can place content directly inside of the folder. You definitely want to continue to communicate with your students. If you're already sending them emails, if they're accustomed to receiving weekly emails from you or every other day, continue that. Continuity is key here with the students. And as I mentioned before, using the course announcements in Blackboard will allow you to post that inside of Blackboard and send the email at the same time. So your information is consistent and it's in more than one place for your students. And this is a sample course announcement. Sorry about that. Technology and glitches do happen. So how do you get started? If you're wondering or feeling a little overwhelmed, if you're a novice to using Blackboard, just a couple of quick tips on what you can do to quickly get started with preparing your course for e-learning. Post your virtual office hours. I'm sure your office hours are already established for the semester. Post those as in your course. You can post it as an announcement, send it to your email. Register for our upcoming workshops. You also want to add your assignments with any due dates so that students can stay on task. They will not have you face to face for those reminders, but they do have you digitally to post those reminders that they can always refer to. If you plan to use pre-recorded lectures, I would say do a trial run, practice learning the software before creating your pre-recorded lectures. And of course, if you host live sessions with your students, I always recommend to have a practice session. You may choose to invite your students for a low stakes session, offer them a few points of extra credit, or just to make sure everyone gets a feel for using the technology for the first time. And then after everyone logs into a session, quick hello, everyone is okay, you can answer any questions that your students have, then you're all set to schedule your actual live lecture with your students. To set up your virtual office hours, it will appear in your course like so. It can be a standing room, and direct your students to that so they'll always know where to reach you when it's time for office hours or if they need to communicate with you. Highly recommend that if your syllabus is not online, hopefully it's already in Blackboard, but if it's not, you'll want to post a copy of your syllabus as well. And if you plan to use any assessments, you can post your exams as well as research papers. Any short or formative assessments can be included under your content menu, under your assignments or your quizzes and exam section in the course. A few online delivery tips. Take deep breaths, it works. Again, I understand that this can be a challenging time, so I'm hoping that this session will help alleviate some of your questions and help you brainstorm and plan to move your course content online. Be flexible. There will be students who are completely new to online learning, and there is a learning curve there. Students will have to be patient with us as well. But the instructional technology is designed to help maintain instructional continuity. Utilize those resources on our CAES website. There's a plethora of video tutorials, text-based tutorials, and a place to register for our upcoming workshops. This is our mighty team. We are here to support again with workshops face-to-face and virtual, one-on-one assistance face-to-face and virtual. We typically send out a Collaborate link. We can meet virtually in Collaborate, or we can meet via telephone. There are online tutorials, and you will receive just-in-time mini tutorials that will be sent directly to your email from the CAES staff. So watch out for those emails as well. Here's a brief list of our upcoming workshops. Some of the workshops, such as Collaborate Ultra, if they're virtual, we will chunk them or break them into short bits. We offered a face-to-face workshop on Collaborate Ultra this week. It was a full-fledged workshop, but our virtual workshops will be chunked. So there'll be a separate workshop for creating pre-recorded lectures, another workshop for hosting live lectures with your students. And if you are staff and wish to, or advisors that wish to meet with your students virtually, we can discuss those as well. Respondus is our software to convert paper exams in digital format and seamlessly upload those into Blackboard. And then lastly, VoiceThread. So these are just some of the workshops that we're going to offer to get started. Stay tuned, and we hope to see you there. For additional information, please visit the Instructional Continuity Planning page on the CAES website, as well as the Maine Governor State COVID-19 page for updates.